a build-around submission for Elesh Norn inside of a green-white token shell. Because she is a 7-mana card, and we're trying to cast her honestly for the most part, I am only playing 3 copies of her. You've also got some copies of Tristani Discord here at the top end of our curve that's similar to Elesh, but a little bit cheaper. Also makes some extra bodies for us. At the bottom end, we've got Legion's Landing and Elf as accelerants to help us get to this top end a little bit sooner. We've got some Song of Freylays that can help us ramp up, which is nice. So, Altars, thank you for the sub gifts. That's very generous of you. Good morning. So just kind of like good card token stuff, some reasonable interaction and hate cards in the sideboard. Let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it feels this morning. You can find all of my decks up on my Untapped profile here. For the follow, Brewster and Mega Tuck Daddy. Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of day it is. Maybe by Horizon Zero Dawn, and now I'm 2 weeks behind on my work, so thanks for introducing me to this wonderful and depressing game. The story sub-theme on Horizon Zero Dawn is easily part of why it's my favorite game of all time. It really hits close to home. Ooh, little, nope, not black aggro. Little ramp going on here. Could be a deck that features sweepers. Is Heliod combo really more problematic than the other combos that we have? Yes. Yes, it is. One thing that is a scotch awkward in this deck is that Tristani and Elesh are a little bit of a non-bow with Lovestruck Beast, because Lovestruck Beast can't attack when we turn our things into 2/2s, but I think this card is powerful enough that it's worth that little bit of anti-synergy. Interesting decision to he can still crew Chariot, is correct. It's a little bit nice synergies he does have. They'd start activating Golos here. What are the odds, chat? What are the odds? Honestly, probably one of the better draws in our deck, unlocking these Lovestruck Beasts. The fourth Thoughtseize. Hey, they have a Cry of the Canarium somewhere to fetch up to make Lovestruck Beast not attack. They only have 3 mana here. Cry's not a very good sweeper in this format, so I'd be kind of surprised if they have one. Could have something like Legion's End maybe to exile the 1/1s. Okay, so Reidane slows down their sweepers. I feel like Elesh is supposed to come out in the control matchups. Probably just bring in a bunch of Shifting Ceratops to have some individually powerful cards. If there are Song Frelays, which one our cards to be individually better. Archon stops, Golos trigger to Shreks. Really, it's some cast like one good card off of it, which is like enough most of the time, I think. Yes, they did have a bunch of Snowlands as well for Reidane to make awkward. I guess this shouldn't be a surprise because of what we've been streaming here for so long, but at 543 responses in, Historic on MTGA has 98.9% support among subscribers, so we have the right content focus here at least. Bo Reagan, welcome back to the top of the chart. Thanks for the sub gifties. It's very generous of you. We're going to be greedy and bottom of lane too. We're on the draw. Who are the 1% that subscribe and don't like Historic? I would bet the 1% that have filled it out that subscribe and don't like Historic are people that don't play Magic anymore, but hang out for the subs Discord. Because the subs Discord is great shit. If you haven't checked it out, you should drop on in. It's also where you'll find the link to the sub survey. I don't think we're supposed to play Reidane out here because there's a good chance they have a piece of spot removal. And then I think at this point, I want to Saproling Migration. So that way they can't just kill my 1/1. They have to kill the Lovestruck Beast. Thanks for the follow, Moody. Welcome to the channel. Morning, Jimmy Bean. There's some blood on the snow, opponent. Not yet, huh? Excuse me? Why no Intangible Virtue? Because Intangible Virtue is an individually weak card. I'd rather just play cards like Tristani or Elesh that power up my things while being decent cards on their own. Worth noting here that if I had made a Lovestruck token last turn, they'd be dead here. Maybe should have done that. Yeah, and it looks like that is probably going to cost us the game, huh? Silence. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit during the first stream this morning, Fekarax.
Under my tutelage, even you can master death.
Hello, baby daughter. Morning. You just walking on into my office.
Be something useful.
You think that's funny? You looking back at your mama? What's up? Yeah, that jelly was bad. I think there's another one in the cabinet pantry, isn't there? Yeah. I think I'm happy with how we boarded. I'm gonna run it back. We'll be on the play this time. You like Daddy's headset? You wanna listen? You want back, Mom?
Get right, Dad. I'm staying here.
There's too much stuff in here. Love you, baby girl. Right on time, Legion's Landing. Welcome to the party. Those of you that are new to the channel, that is Haley. She is almost 1 year old. Her birthday is in 12 days. Hey, Winter. Thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel this morning. Sorry, before the cute distraction walked in, we talked about Runeterra stuff this morning a little bit. A little sad what their format turned into. It'll be interesting to see if they correct course or if they're happy with what their format looks like currently. Yeah, they all walk at very different rates. Like, Declan, I think, was like 15 months, and Jacob was like almost 18 months before he really walked. And Haley's been walking since 9 months. The best way I can give a concise description of Runeterra's current format is, imagine if someone told you they were gonna make you play best of 1 modern. Is basically what their format has turned into. Well, now we just do this, right? Maybe the older ones taught the sister. Yeah, definitely. Part of why Haley started walking early is almost assuredly because she has the older brothers to model after. And honestly too, I liked working with Riot, and they were very good to me as a creator. But to put them on blast for a second, I think it's more unforgivable, or it's less forgivable, when Riot doesn't fix Runeterra's format than when Wizards messes up with Magic. Because, like, Riot basically has 800,000 different knobs they can turn to balance their digital card game to errata and change the text of cards, and there's no financial component to their game. Like, nobody's losing value when they buff or nerf things. So the fact that they refuse to get their format balanced to a point that's reasonable is really baffling. Yes, they also have a much smaller card pool than any Magic format. Like, Runeterra's constructed format is much smaller than even Magic's standard format. We could get Ugin next turn. Or just swept like a Languish or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. Like I said, I'm enjoying Magic, and I stopped playing their game because I enjoy Magic, and I'm just gonna play the games that I find fun these days. And if I find Magic fun, I'll play Magic. And if Runeterra fixes their stuff and it looks fun, maybe I'll poke back in there and try it again. Oh, yeah, I mean, Riot is much like Wizards in that they can afford for their game to lose money because they make piles of money off of other things, for sure.
Witherbloom is just as dark and musty as I remember. Let's go digging.
The last deck was awesome. If you like to look at it, it's worth watching on. It'll be worth watching on YouTube. They have a removal spell for this. I get into trouble because it means I get to eat my Emmara. Yeah. I assume they found a removal spell with this. It's unfortunate. I think we're probably dead here at this point, huh? Our aggro deck doesn't really have any traditional forms of reach. I mean, the opponent's deck's a pretty typical variation of their deck. They're not really playing any atypical cards. I guess this is kind of a card that's newer. The opponent's archetype, like, used to be a thing. This is a card that didn't exist once upon a time for it. Yeah, super dead at this point. Good games, opponent. I messed up our second game. If I would have taken a slightly more aggressive line in the second game, we would have had them deterministically dead through their sweepers and interaction. And because I didn't take the more aggressive line, we gave them time to get to Ugin, which took over the game. Oh, there's free stonks in the store. I'm gonna play you at some point. I think this card tends to be bad. I'm not spending money on that one, even at 40% off. Hopefully the bird is playable in standard at some point. Alright, so we'll go landing into landing elf. Bird is a super sweet design, I agree. Since we drew that, we'll do that instead. No memory lapse. Okay. This is knowing our luck, this will be the one Jeskai deck that's still running Clarion. Chinky Scooby, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Give me June Brits and enjoy some corporate pride. Thanks for the biddies, twin. Happy Pride Month. Why no Risk? Because Risk isn't a playable Magic card. The best piece of deck building advice I can bestow upon you is put more good cards in your deck. You'll win more games of Magic. Tristani's not lethal, right? It would have been 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think I played Tristani out into a Wrath of God turn. I think I just pass and make it a Dante token. Are you gonna cast no spells and die? Alright, well now this is lethal, so we'll cast it. Sure, but like you're not Jeskai control, Steric. There's a difference between your Niv Mizzet deck playing it and the opponent's archetype playing it. I just lost the game because I played around Settle the Wreckage. Never play around Settle the Wreckage, Chad. It's a trap. Don't do it. I think this is our control game plan. Ceratops and Reidane's in, Elesh, Norn, Song of Freyley's out. This is the Jeskai control deck people complain about? Come on, Chad. It doesn't do anything. This Jeskai control deck that does nothing and dies? What's the problem, chat? Jeskai control? Yep, something like that. Forest. Morning, mensch. The opponent's name means no in Portuguese. Well, they're playing the right deck then. Untapped green, please. Never lucky. I think this is actually the first Jeskai opponent we've played against in over 2 hours. I don't think we hit any during our session with Niv, which is probably part of the reason why Niv was so much fun to play this morning. Yeah, yesterday's sets that were posted to YouTube were a little brutal. Yesterday was also the first day on the ladder, and like the Jeskai control deck is so good that like people that are playing that deck, if they played yesterday, have moved up into Diamond most likely by now. People playing the defined good best deck the first day is pretty common. I don't want to climb their whip. I really hope the Jeskai deck has a super dominating performance this weekend. Oh, they're not. They're Velocamist turns. Got it. Okay, does that change how I'm sideboarded? Yes. Also means we're dead here. Velocamist turns. Got it. What's the best deck? You thought Phoenix was the best deck. Phoenix and Jeskai have both put up very strong results. You check out my most recent Meta Monday video if you're interested in what the breakdown of the format looks like after the most recent set of tournaments and metrics. I'm gonna bring in Archon. Some decks and Conclaves might be right too. Clean up after the fact. This card has a hard time. I guess it's okay through sweepers. Maybe that's the trim. You saw the results from Meta Monday, but looking at the results from Untapped, Phoenix, and Jeskai turns have the best win rates. So that makes sense, Neil, because Phoenix and Jeskai turns are proactive decks, and proactive decks gain the most from playing on a ladder as opposed to playing in a tournament setting. So in a tournament setting, reactive, interactive decks gain more than linear decks do. So I would expect combo decks and aggro decks to have better results on the ladder than in a tournament. do this, because this means they have to have exactly basic mountain to sweep me next turn. Morning, Gothic. Thanks for the follow. There's also an important thing to acknowledge when it comes to Untapped is while Untapped is going to have much larger sample sizes than something like Tournament Data has, Untapped has response bias present in it that Tournament Data will not have. Response bias refers to the people, the way they collect their information has a voluntary response. So Archon here means that they can't combos this turn because they can't put Velocibus into play and then cast a spell with it. One of the reasons why this is in our sideboard in addition to Phoenix. Yes, yeah, the ladder also rewards you for playing faster decks. What's response bias? Response bias is what I just said. Selection, I think selection bias is the correct. It's been a while since I've taught a stats class. I think selection bias, the way in which you're getting your selection of data, is the correct term. Anybody more familiar with working statistics regularly? Is that the correct jargon? This'll do it. They hit the extra turn here, and they have a time warp in the bin, which means Mizzix's Mastery is also a live hit here. Yep. It's a real shame we didn't have a fifth land this game, or a fourth land, really, because one of our lands is a Danto, to be able to play 2 Ceratops the previous turn, which would have let us force a block.
I know what must be done. No time for a break.
Response bias is specific to polling. There's a demographic aspect to who's willing to respond to your poll. Okay. Yeah, opponent's playing a Jeskai build of turns. Usually this turn's archetype is blue-red with, like, some triomes and treasures to cast this. Opponent's full-on Jeskai with, like, Helix and Clarions and Birth and Teferi. They're a little bit different than the more stock variation of this archetype. I think Teamer is the better variation, isn't tough? Being proactive is king. The Sultai deck is very reactive. I mean, they're not blue-white controlled, they're full-on Jeskai. They're playing all the different colors. Looks like they've got a pretty even split of things. That's semantical, but... Do I have Velocibus turns up on the website? I need to get Jund Food put up there. I don't remember if I have Velocibus turns up there or not. I feel like I don't. Yeah, I just have mutate turns. I should get a banner for that. Yeah, that seems fine. Hey, Kenny, are you in chat? If you're in chat, let me know and it'll save me a DM on Discord. Card don't shoot. Thanks to 11 months. Ugh. All of the Gandalfs woke up for the morning chat, and they're here to make us miserable. Yeah, we played the turns deck. We played the turns deck at one point on stream, so I have a video for it already, which is nice. Jund Food will have to get to playing on stream at some point to have a video for that one. Depending, I feel like the turns deck probably belongs in high potential to start. We'll see how it does this weekend to decide if we want to put it into proven. If it has a good weekend at the championship, we'll slide it on up. If they have a sweeper here, I get to resolve Chariot next turn. Chariot's pretty good in these control matchups. Really solid threat, especially with something like Lovestruck Beast here that can crew it after they kill the cats. Your 2-mana cantrip resolves. That's rude. So we missed 2 points of damage here, but I get to play out both of these. Hey, Skyzos, thanks for the sub gift. Good morning. Thoughts on March of the Multitudes? I think it's bad. That's why I'm not playing it. I think the board states in which March of the Multitudes are good involve you having a lot of tokens. And if you have a lot of tokens, your opponent should be dead anyways. A pretty textbook Winmore card. Moon Boots, thanks for the 6 months. I appreciate the half a year. Welcome back. And in general, if you see me not playing a card, I would prefer if you tell me why you think we should play that card or why you think that card is good, rather than expecting me to tell you card's bad. Me just saying card's bad isn't really helpful. If I think a card is worth playing, generally speaking, I will fit it into the deck. Less targets? That's so awkward. So they could like Helix us and basically get a 2-for-1. And I think with the stupid Wrath of God looming over me, I have to just pass here.
You are a mighty warrior. I concede.
I mean, if your only justification for playing something is it's fun, we don't really need to talk about it, right? Because I'm not going to talk you out of a card being fun. If you want to play a card because you enjoy it, like, more power to you, play a card because you enjoy it. I mean, I think their hand on Wrath is already forced because of the song. I think playing the history is a mistake. This is me telling you what are your thoughts on X is not good enough formally. This is me letting you know that please put some effort into asking me why you think we should play a card. If you can't think of a reason we should be playing a card, I don't know why I need to tell you that it's bad. Usually if a card's worth playing, you know, you can talk about it. Generate discussions. Don't ask me to lecture you. Lightning Helix. How count is Field of Ruin of the Gandalf list? I actually know the stats on that offhand. Struck Beast, hopping in the cart and running people down. What's my lecturer rate? I don't know that I have a good answer to that. The last time I was a lecturer, it didn't particularly pay very well, which is why I'm now a full-time meme on Twitch. Oh, I forgot. Tristani makes Lovestruck Beast on attack. That's fine. It's still the correct line, but I forgot. Have we run into issues not being able to attack with Lovestruck Beast after putting Elesh into play? Okay, can you describe to me a board state where I have Elesh Norn in play and I'm probably not winning the game? What does that look like?
My prowess is unmatched by my peers. Hone your prowess.
Nice card. And that's the way I think about it. Like, I think people put too much thought into I can't play these cards together because they have anti-synergy. And it's fine because both of these cards are individually good, so it's fine if these cards are slightly awkward together because on their own they're good. And play good cards in your deck, you'll win more games of Magic. Yeah, and like people saying, okay, it's bad against control, and that's a good point, but also I board them out here, right? Like, this card isn't good in this matchup, which is why the discussion is good, right? Like, you could say, okay, they're bad here, but it's like, that's not relevant because of this. The dream for HA6 is Tireless Tracker and Voice. No, the dream is that we get Eldritch Moon Shadows over Innistrad remastered before Historic Anthology 6. The dream is we just get all of our friends out of that set. I want Bant Tameo, I want Spell Queller, I want Elder Deep Fiend, I want Emrakul the Promised End. I want a good tutor in this format. I want, what's the Delirium tutor? What's the Delirium tutor, chat? I'm blanking on its name. Oh, Avacyn. Avacyn's such a gas card. Traverse. Yeah, I want to traverse some Ulvenwalds, chat. The Ulvenwald and I go way back. Reflector Mage was a core set card, right? That wasn't in. It was played in that format, but it's not actually in Shadows of Innistrad. Yeah! Thing in the Ice. Thing in the Ice is a gas magic card. Was it Zendikar? I could have sworn that card was a core set. It's been a while though, so I'd accept that I'm wrong. That's from Oath? Okay. Hey, I'm gonna play God of the Worthy out here because she is a threat that doesn't play into a sweeper because they can't sweep with her out. I agree that there is a good chance Thing in the Ice pushes Phoenix over the top. Thing in the Ice could cause concern for Phoenix, but that's fine. We'll just ban something out of it if that happens. Give me the sweet cards. Chariot resolved here. Next turn we have a Shifty Boy. Or if they sweep the board here, we'll go Lovestruck Emmara, crew this attack.
Past, present, and future are put thoughtfulness before action.
Is this bullshit? What is this card good against? I guess it kills Phoenixes at instant speed. This is some nonsense, chat. I feel personally attacked right now. Okay, so this forces them to have Wrath of God. Right, this pause makes me think they don't have... Makes me think they don't have Wrath of God. They have Cinderclasm, that's fine. You have plenty of other good cards here. Oh!
This isn't a fight.
It works with Teferi's Plus, that's cute. But that's not good enough, right? Because we just like crew the Chariot and smash in. So they can't just Cinderclasm here. I think we do this, right? Because they can't Cinderclasm, so they're forced to have... I don't know what they could have here. I'm pretty sure we just cast the Lovestruck Beast, through the Chariot with that, and then smash. Bet. So I have to share an anecdote that the other parents in chat will appreciate. I came into my office this morning and the light was on and I was like, oh, I can't believe I forgot to turn the light off when I walked out last night. I always remember to turn the light off usually. And then I went to plug my cell phone in when I started the stream up, and my cell phone charger was also missing. So it turns out I didn't forget to turn the light off in my office. It turns out my office was pillaged by a tiny monster while I was not inside of it. Pillaged feels like the appropriate word. Ransacked would also be. I would accept ransacked as well. It's a sweet draw. Okay, so next turn we'll get to drop history. We get a next turn, we might just die too. A lot of pressure here. The fact that we were on the draw this game could easily be the reason we lose. Yeah. It's got a super aggressive start. My middle son Declan, he won't lie, but when he knows he's in trouble or is going to say something that's incriminating, he just stops talking. Which is actually pretty smart. I don't know where he actually learned that from, but it's very amusing. Oh yeah, Rowan is just murders us here, right? Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, those of you that have watched the channel will believe it. We're not a family of cops, so I don't know where he maybe from TV shows. There's a lot of you have the right to remain silent tropes in TV shows. That's definitely not something we parrot around here, generally speaking. All right, so Emmara is probably the cut here, right? We have a kind of a hard time attacking in with her in a lot of their board states. Maybe Conclave Tribunal actually isn't good enough. Deckenstone's actually probably decent. They have Skyclaves of their own, Skyclave Apparitions of their own that exile this, which makes this less appealing. I'm trim landing for the same reason I'm trimming Emmara, just hard to get in and trigger it, I think. Morning, Ruby. You're catching us towards the tail end. We've been at this one for 50 minutes, probably another half hour or so. Currently down a game against Green-White Company. Maybe this is a mulligan without, like, I don't really want to play this on 2. Nailed it. This is fine. Oh, I should have played this tapped, right? I forgot this was a land. Man, super punished, huh? Because now this has to come into play tapped because of this. Very punishing. Could have played Chariot this turn if I had played my lands in the proper order. Well, kind of paid off for my fumble in a way here. Why did we shock that in? What could that possibly mean? Mana Tithe? Nah, chat. I can block warriors. We're not playing around a Mana Tithe. Nice. Stuck the basic land tier, end of the game. Yeah, if they don't curve out like perfects like they did in the first game, I think we're in a pretty good spot in this matchup on average. We kind of go bigger than they do. Ephemerate could be the case. That could be a thought. You know, honestly, do I leave them the Archon so they can't double spell next turn? I think that's the play, right? We're like putting them to 1. It's like, okay, no double spells for you. Come back next time. I don't think this card should be in their deck against us post-board. It was like kind of annoying this game, but also we can play through it, so we have like some more expensive things. It like made our Song of Freyleigh's turn slightly worse. Thinking about how that played out, I think I actually want to swap Legion's Landing for Emmara, because I can activate Emmara with Song or Inkska Chariot, even if she can't attack. I mean, they could be like big wild animal style cat speed. You don't know. You don't know their kitty cat life. It was right to keep the Song in bottom one of these. It's like I have no plays till turn 3. Deal. I guess that probably means they have a lot of collecting companies, right? If I had to venture a guess. Never kept 7. That's unfortunate. Thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. They go Lovestruck plus Llanowar this turn, I think. This sets us up to be able to Lovestruck, make a token, plus play a 5/5 next turn if we brick. It's looking like we're going to be dipping into Modern. Man, their keep was really bad. No collected company. Like their weak start on the play was fine if like it was gonna have a company on 3, I think, or on 4, I think. Yes, yeah, the adventure cards lose the binder tax after you play the adventure part. And just to set expectations for people that are looking forward to Modern, looking forward to it too, but I'm also not planning to play more if it's miserable. So like, if it's fun, we'll do it. But if it's not fun, like, you know. Heed the call. This card also makes the rest of your creatures indestructible, BT dubs. I'm also not planning to do Horizons on release day. We're gonna do it sometime next week. So it technically releases tomorrow. We'll do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week, depending on what the rest of my schedule looks like. We'll start. Already school dropout. Thanks for the follow. I mean, I actually really liked playing against Hagak for reference. The thing I didn't enjoy personally about Modern is like, I'm worried about 3-mana Teferi and Counterspell more than I'm worried about something broken. Amaria's Call, really getting to flex here. Decided what decks I'm going to play in Modern. I'm going to start with White-Black Stoneblade, and we'll go from there. I'm not taking formal deck submissions for money because I don't want to deal with taking a submission and then having it be something I don't want to play. But decks I like will be on the menu. I actually don't know that Grief looks good. I think people are overestimating Grief versus the other discard spells. Will I do deck voting maybe? Nah, probably not. I don't, the other thing is like, I don't know enough about Modern. Like, the reason why I don't want to take viewer deck submissions is I don't know enough about Modern in its current state to be able to look at a deck list someone sends me and go, this will be fun and make good content, or this will be a dumpster fire and I'm going to be miserable losing for 50 minutes with it. Whereas, like, Historic, I have a good baseline on the format at this point, and I can accept and reject things from an educated position. Yeah, Amulet Titan and Blue-White Control are some of the best decks in Modern right now, so, like, we'll see. We're gonna get to play 4 Vindicates and Black-White Stoneblade, so we'll see if that makes big mana manageable, but there's a chance it's just like a big mana control hellscape that we play a few hours of and decide it's not for us. I'm going in with cautiously optimistic but also realistic expectations. It's like the TLDR. It's for the 14 months lost. Welcome back. On Moto, when you buy cards, you actually own them as opposed to Arena where you don't actually own them. If you read the Magic Online Terms of Service, you do not own your cards on Magic Online. In fact, if you actually read the Magic Online Terms of Service, all of the companies and third-party services that buy and sell Magic Online cards for cash are breaking the Terms of Service. The Magic Online TOS actually explicitly forbids you from buying and selling things for real money. And I assume that's a clause they put in there to get around the fact that Magic Online is gambling. Mr. Wappy, thanks for the follow. But in actuality, you can buy and sell things for cash on Magic Online, yes. I think I'm chump blocking here. That was a good draw, believe it or not. Do I attack? Do I want to throw away a 2/2 to push damage? Yeah, I think so. It gains me 4 as well, because I don't really want to block when they're threatening Embercleave either, right? And then next turn we can Shefet Dunes and pump up the jam. Now, to be fair, for standard legal sets, MTGO has a legal cash out option, because if you acquire a full standard legal set on MTGO, you could actually pay a small fee, and Wizards will take your digital cards and send you physical paper Magic cards for that set. But that is the only way within the current Magic Online terms of service that you can legitimately cash out of Magic Online. All right, so do we want to Shefet Dunes this turn? They explicitly left up red mana while playing Scavenging Ooze. They could have a Stomp. I think we just Shefet and attack. I don't know, I'd be surprised if it's clear-cut, Bez. It could have been right to just, like, Emmara plus a Dante this turn. Is it ever cheaper to buy digital sets of cards on Moto and then cash out to paper? Not usually. Because, for reference, booster packs on MTGO are the same price as buying booster packs in paper. What is the reason they keep support for MTGO? Shouldn't they transition everything over to Arena, or aren't they giving Wizards too much credit? So, MTGO is almost old enough to drink in the United States, and it still doesn't have every Magic card that's ever been printed on it. So, I would be incredibly surprised if their long-term plans are anything other than we eventually plan to phase out MTGO. They're not going to say that publicly because of secondary markets and causing a scare there, but I would assume that their long-term plan is we're going to phase out MTGO. That being said, it's going to take them probably a decade to get everything that's on Moto onto Arena. So, like, the realistic timeline of it being phased out is super far out. When MTGO was first introduced during my teenage years, it was only a standard platform, just like Arena started as a standard platform. And they slowly back added Magic's catalog of cards to it, just like they're doing with Arena. Yeah, thanks for the 27 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Arena probably caused MTGO prices to increase because it moved to Arena. Yeah, it did actually. Yeah, especially new standard legal cards that were playable in sets like Modern and Legacy had a huge spike on Moto. I think Chandelar is a variety game. No. I don't crave nostalgia, chat. I don't. I want my video games to be sweet. God, Amaria's Call has, like, picked up some of these games and carried it on the back, huh? It's been real good so far today. So this attacks because it's indestructible for lifelink. This attacks to make a token. They have free block. They technically have one more free block, so I could attack with one of these to push damage, but they're at 7, so I don't really need to push damage. So I just want to hold these indestructible tokens back as blockers, right? They're indestructible until my next turn. Yeah, so I'm going to attack with these because I want to gain 2 and make a token, but there's really no reason to ship with these because I have lethal in the air. So we haven't gotten to Elesh Norn anybody yet with this deck, but the fact that we've been casting Emaria's Call would imply that Elesh Norn is castable. So that's nice at least. Is that Esika's Chariot out matchup? Because they're going to be keeping our board small, trading off. I probably have a hard time attacking in with it frequently. Bring in Deckenstone. We'll bring in Conclave Tribunal. Maybe trim a song. This is a Skyclave Apparition. It's because you run sufficient lands unlike a normal Magic player. Yeah, this deck's playing... We've got 22 regular lands, plus 3 bolt lands, plus these. Like, this deck's got a lot of mana in it. Song is technically mana as well. Yeah, maybe Chariot's better... Maybe Chariot's better than this because it, taps her. Conclave taps her too, which is nice. I'll have a couple of Chariots in. You feel this is better than Green-White Company? I would heavily discourage you from... So what you're doing is something that's very common among Magic players, which is that you're looking at my deck and you're saying, okay, is this better than the other deck that's the same colors as this? And my question back to you would be, why do you think this deck and the other deck are comparable outside of the colors? Because the play patterns of that archetype and this archetype are different. So like, for example, this deck is more of a linear aggressive deck / ramp deck in a number of elements, whereas the Green-White Company deck is more of a disruptive creature deck. Just because, especially in non-rotating formats where we have this deeper card pool, just because things are the same color doesn't mean you should necessarily be drawing comparisons between them in terms of what they do. So if you watch us play the Transmogrify Boros deck, you'll actually see our conclusion at the end was that the Transmogrify part of that deck didn't feel good. Hey, Genran, thanks for the 27 months. Welcome back. Nope, the overlay's working as expected. Maybe try refreshing your stream or disabling your ad blocker. Ad blocker messes with extensions sometimes. Punished for firing off the Deckenstone as soon as we did. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you're far from what you did there. Dirty Boots is very common, even among experienced Magic players. They like have their brains wired to be like, oh, these colors are the same, so there must be a parallel here. And I think that approaching deck building or comparisons from that perspective tends to do more harm than good on average. You narrow your view, kind of. Especially in, like, you know, think about my website, for example, all the decks up there. Even if you only look at high potential versus, or high potential and proven, there's like over a dozen deck lists up there, right? So a lot of the times in non-rotating formats like this with bigger card pools, your things are much more of, this does something slightly different than this other offering as opposed to being strictly better, strictly worse. Does it compare to red-white tokens? That one's a good comparison. I feel like I don't have a good answer. I don't know. They operate on slightly different axes. This one's better at playing Elesh as a fair card, I think, but I don't know that that's a huge selling point necessarily. Hey, Freeman, thanks for upping that prime. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, the untapped overlay is second to none. It's really, really fantastic. All right, hoping to draw an untapped land here to jam a Chariot. Right, second history it is. Yeah, going bigger than the green-white variation, I think, is a fair comparison. It's trading out some aggression of things like heroic reinforcements for. I think if they attack with Bone Daddy, we trade for the Chariot here. They didn't have Cleave last turn, so I would assume they don't have it this turn. Hey, that's great, Zafa. Yeah, it's dark, sweet. That's kind of a sad draw after we just got rid of the Chariot, because it can crew the Chariot on its own. Maybe they are having server issues then. Alright, so we're gonna throw away a cat to flip the landing. I'm gonna ping their person here real quick. Yeah, sounds like it's not an isolated issue then. Lovestruck Beast has both been excellent and slightly awkward with our pump effects, but I definitely think it's worth playing. Alright, so we throw away a 3/3 to get in for a bunch of damage here. Throw away a 2/2. I think there's any way to get untapped working with a tournament stream like Hoots. Yes! It is technically possible. It is logistically messy, though. I could theoretically require competitors to install the untapped overlay, and they could work out having those various competitors pipe to my stream, but it's complicated at best. Min-maxed, thanks for the 19 months. Furman Arcus, thanks to re-upping for the second month. And Jen Rand, I think I missed yours as well, thanks for the 27. We are just dead to a cleave here. There isn't fear in my dojo, chat. You can't let the fear in. I ain't scared. If Bone Crusher is their last card? No, they would have stomped something and played it last turn, right? Yeah, they got a chump block. Anyone know the format of the MCQ, next MCQ? I think there is an incredibly likely chance that there is not currently a human being that knows the format now. Well, I mean, it's not even just the logistics of having the overlay be required. There's also the logistics of Untapped would have to programmatically support what I'm describing, which they almost assuredly don't do at the moment. And that would also be a lot of development work on their end that would be used by a, you know, very small percentage of people. Although, of course, it would also make a bunch of people install their overlays when they play in a tournament. So maybe it's a worthwhile investment to them. User acquisition is very expensive. So doing something like that that's basically guaranteed user acquisition could be something they'd be interested in. I agree. I had medium expectations going into this set, and this deck's definitely exceeded them. Bringing it to finally see an Elesh Norn game, that would be gas. So, for people that are new, not every deck we play on stream is going to automatically get added to my website. Generally speaking, from here on out, unless a deck is an established deck in the historic metagame, or doing something really unique, I'm gonna need to play a deck at least twice to put it up there. Because flukes happen, and there's a lot of decks up there already. I mean, the opponent probably just had some real life thing pop up, chat. It does cost me money to commission banners, and it costs me time to put them up there, so if just everything that had one good run made it up there. Also ideally, I want to try and keep the videos on all the decks up there somewhat current within the last month or two. So every deck we had up there from that perspective adds a cost as well. Thanks, Generic. I appreciate the support. Wouldn't be able to be here without folks like you. I mean, we could be 3 matches away from Diamond, or we could be 30 matches away from Diamond. Don't make assumptions, chat. You never know what the future holds. So we're facing down a Llanowar Elf draw from the opponent while we're on the draw here. We won this matchup earlier. Our opponent won a game exactly like this where they were on the play and had an aggressive start. And then we won the other 2 games where they weren't super aggressive to start. So hopefully we can have a repeat of that here. Might have a Shefet Dunes activation next turn. See a little bit of that. Chariot plus Emmara synergy here. Well then. The dunes have been very good for sure. Big agree. Alright, so they're just like super dead, right? Opponent had a strong start and then just flooded out there a little bit. So, deck and Skyclave in... I think I got the Legion's Landings last time. That seems reasonable. I know we got to flip it there, but I think on average it's going to be pretty difficult to flip in this matchup. JWR, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Great to see over almost 1,500 people in here. If you're new to the channel like JWR, welcome. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. We do a few historic decks most days of the week, Monday through Friday to start things off. In the afternoons, I do a little bit of variety streaming, usually single-player story-driven stuff. We're currently working our way through Ghost of Tsushima. I also have a YouTube channel where all the decks that I play that I think are worth watching and generate some interesting gameplay end up with a video up there. So if you're looking for an excellent source of kind of off-the-beaten-path historic decks, it's a great place for that. Nice. Opponent with a pretty slow start here. Do I ever play any standard? I play standard when standard is worth playing. So when rotation happens in the fall, we'll play some standard, but until rotation happens, I don't think the current standard format is very interesting. Nice magic card. Enjoy your content. I'm not sure how many decks you've made me craft. I've never been able to pilot them quite as well as you, though. Keep it up, my dude. Thanks, Jay. I was pretty impressed with this. I liked what this is doing quite a bit, actually. So I feel like for my wrap-up segment here, I think the one card I really wasn't super pleased with throughout the course of that set was the Song of Freyles. Not only is this card awkward against the control decks in the format, I ended up boarding them out against those. But the fact that the third chapter here puts 1/1 counters on things makes Lovestruck Beast more awkward in general. And the reason why this third chapter differs a bit from some of our other effects like Tristani, Elesh, and Shefet Dunes is we have a little bit less control over when this third chapter happens, right? Like, it's hard to predict, like, what the board state's gonna look like, you know, 2 turns in the future when you cast it. And the ramp from it was, like, only okay. So I feel like my gut says to get rid of those. Ryushi Roby, thanks for the sub gifts. Good morning. I wouldn't mind a couple of... the Shefet Dunes was really good throughout the course of that set, and I think I would go up to a 4th copy of them. Honestly, another thing that could be worth trying as well is something that gets missed sometimes is that Hepshet Oasis can be sacrificed to Shefet Dunes. So you would need to figure out exactly how many pay-a-life add-a-mana lands you can afford to play in the aggressive matchups. But, like, you know, with things like Lovestruck Beast and Tristani, we have, like, good ways to interact with the aggro matchup. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, trimming a couple of forests too and playing a couple of green deserts that you can sacrifice to the Shefet Dunes would be sweet. So, Great Henge isn't a card that a deck like this is really interested in playing because one, Great Henge doesn't trigger when tokens enter play, and two, aside from Lovestruck Beast, we don't really have any other large attackers. As for the last couple of slots here, I feel like going up a land especially, I wouldn't mind playing another type of bigger payoff. I don't know that I want 4th copies of any of these legendary things, but like maybe some Planeswalker we could play perhaps. It's Ultra Mythic. There's Planeswalkers that make tokens, right? This gives Trample. You could play Vivian. Basri. Basri's not really a playable card, right? Yeah, he doesn't work with your tokens. This is okay. Yeah, could do something along the lines of that, but I don't know exactly what exactly I'd want the creature slot to be off of hand. You could even do something like put a touch of interaction in the main deck. Like you could play a couple Skyclaves main or a couple Conclave Tribunals. It's just like a good flexible card that you could power out consistently. Like, yeah, that's probably what it is. You're rarely gonna be sad to see a Conclave Tribunal game 1, and having like a answer target problem card is probably gonna be pretty reasonable on occasion. And it gives you a couple of sideboard slots to play with too. So yeah, I think that's what I'd end on. I'd end on a couple of Conclave Tribunal in the main, an extra land over the songs, but the core of the aggressive kind of mid-rangey plan felt very reasonable. We were able to beat down against Jeskai and keep up against other creature decks like Gruul and Green-White quite nicely. Yeah, if you wanted to be more aggressive, you could play something like Raise the Alarm. I don't think that's terrible. It's just like Conclave Tribunal is just like a solid like B+ card. Ally of Zendikar, yes. When Zendikar happens, this deck wants 4 Ally of Zendikar. You probably cut these 2, a Chariot, and like something up here. But yeah, Ally of Zendikar would be absurd in this style of deck like this. All right.